Guys, yeah, as Phil mentioned, we've got a very engaging, we hope, and hot topic on for this session. Resilience is something that a lot of people in the room, especially if they've been in this industry for a while, is something that being familiar with. We all kind of carry resilience in a bunch of different ways. And that's something we're going to break down today. And we've got some absolute legends, like Phil mentioned, even have been in the space for decades. And we'll try and unpack what we can from their minds today for you guys. And I'll just welcome the panelists up. Please make your way up, guys, and we'll do intros as we go. I'll go at the end if you guys go that way. Perfect.
Is this such a chivalrous panel?
It is.
And I make all of the, that's why I'm like fun stuff first. And I just went down.
This looks pretty cool up here, actually. Just looking at the couch.
I know it's pretty that.
It's pretty cool setup, isn't it? Nice little backdrop. And it is a comfortable couch as well. It's not one of those ones that looks pretty, but you never want to sit on it, or you don't want your dog to go on it.
I can't hear you, so I just checked.
But just testing the audio there, guys. So I want to say,
there's no monitor, for us to share us.
You can't hear anything that I'm saying?
It's badly.
Really? As long as I hear it.
You can't hear me when I'm speaking?
A little bit.
Just no. Okay. Alright, guys, we'll kick it off. I guess I'll start with myself. Phil gave me a bit of a warm intro, so thanks again for that, Phil. Tommy Holland from SwiftX. I'm the director of product. SwiftX is one of the largest trading platforms in Australia, and we've been in the market for about 6.5 years. I've been with the business myself about 6 years, so one of the very early employees. Wore a lot of hats across the business in that 6 years. A lot of hashtag resilience in that period, I would say, which is great. Anyone that's been around for a while is very familiar with the topic. So that's me. I pass to Serge.
So hi everyone. My name is Sergej Kunz. I'm co-founder of 1inch. My background, I'm software engineer, software architect for 20 years, and I and my co-founder came to a simple idea back in 2019 on a hackathon in New York City to build an aggregator among decentralized exchanges. We call it 1inch. Nowadays we are pushing forward the intent-based technology for the best execution in non-custodial manner, also cross-chain. So I'm very happy to have 150 people around the globe working on this project nowadays. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel Conlon, and I am the Global Chief Marketing Officer at Binance. We're one of the largest crypto exchanges globally, with 240 million users in 100 countries. And my role at Binance is really about scaling our operations and our strategic partnerships to ensure that we are inviting in the next generation of users, which is really exciting. I've been in the industry like 4 years, but I should have gotten into the industry about 14 years ago when a very good friend of mine into Visa Payments introduced me to crypto, to Bitcoin, and at the time, in kind of fleeting interest, but then fully got back into it about 4.5 years ago.
Can you remember what the price was when you first heard about it?
Oh, it was like 0.15 15 years, and it was extraordinary. And what was really interesting about her is she was obsessed with transactions and she bought a bottle of Chloe perfume. And about 2 weeks ago, she just sent me the equivalent of what that's worth today, which was a bit shocking. So just still a deep in it though.
Yeah, checks out.
Hi all, my name is Tim Wilkes. I'm the Chief Business Development Officer at CoinSpot, one of the largest exchanges in Australia. I've been with the company around 6 or 7 years, background in traditional finance, been in and around the crypto space for probably about 8 to 9 years. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today. And also just wanted to say, can we get a big round of applause for Dave and the team for preparing such an amazing event. It's really great to see everyone here. Incredible turnout. Timing is always impeccable with Dave, so well done.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. I'm Dave. I'm the founder of Australian Crypto Convention, and I've been involved in the space for about 8 years now myself. This is our third event, and as Tim said, we managed to somehow time it pretty well each year, and I'm really thrilled with where we're at in the market, and I'm looking forward to talking about how we build on that in years to come.
Dave's the only one on the panel that's not representing some kind of an exchange type scenario here. So just for a summary, centralized exchange, decentralized exchange, or aggregator. Is that okay?
Yes, we are the best trading venue for non-custodial swaps.
What he's saying. We've got Binance, we've got CoinSpot, centralized exchange, and then Dave hopefully is probably trading across all of us because he needs to be like Switzerland, neutral in the middle, you know, because we come back every year.
We're all needing.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Awesome. Cool. Resilience. I want to talk about resilience. I guess, again, I mentioned at the start, resilience means, I think, a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I think regardless of the situation, it's always about how you handle it, how you handle problems, how you get through them, and how you carry yourself out the other side. For me, it's about leadership. When I think about resilience, it's about turning up every day when things are hard, building, solving problems, and then bringing your team or your organization or your family, whatever it is, on that journey and making sure that, you know, everyone is safe. So again, we're going to make this an exciting one. It is a hard topic, but I guess just to dig into the questions, I'll start with you, Sergej. What's been the greatest kind of test of resilience across the industry? I mean, there's plenty of examples to choose from. From your perspective, what's our biggest test been to date?
So if you speak in general about crypto, so we have seen these hacks of bridges, like in terms of like our Web3 and DeFi setup. People build software, what is publicly accessible, everyone can read the code. And of course, some people find some bugs and can extract funds. So we have seen huge amount of money flowing out of the hacked bridges, also the other protocols. And of course, people think twice nowadays if they can put now money somewhere in the protocol. But it's good. Like this, like from our point of view, normal problem in our space. There are like not normal problems, normal problems. We can improve, we can work, and like more. I see more protocols doing more security audits nowadays. For example, I guess the leader is Euler Finance. They did with the last. They got also hacked once. They got last time 32 security audits from 32 different companies, and it's really like a record right now in our industry. After them, I guess we come with a lot of also audits, at least 10 for each protocol. If I speak about OneInch itself, what we have seen as challenges. I personally as well, being software engineer, starting just this project in free time as a pet project with my co-founder, that I faced problems with fast-growing project. We have nowadays 150 people, and I understood recently that all the problems are normal. Like problems is very normal, because if you have no problems, you will die as a project, you will die as a person as well. You have always to develop, to improve yourself. You can also adopt it for the crypto itself. We have problems, but we adapt. Yeah, and this is kind of most important things, that we do something with this, we fix, and don't repeat it again due to failures.
Yep. Yeah. Rachel.
I think that the biggest test of resilience has been waiting for where we are today. You know, to hopefully at from the stage later on today, celebrating, you know, our Bitcoin at 100K, and I would say that's been an incredible exercise of patience. You know, and a big kind of clap hands to everyone in the room who's held. Like we all remember November 2022 when it's at just under 15,000. So you know, I think that's just showing like the patience. But you know, from a finance perspective, you know, obviously there's a long list of industry players, and having a bird's eye view of everything going on, from regulatory issues and to security breaches. But I think one of the biggest exercises of resilience we have at the moment is actually scams, because we are such a nascent industry still. You know, we're less than 15 years old, and we are still building. And the challenge, you know, and there is this misconception that in amongst Gen Pop and normies that crypto is the purveyor of scams, and that's what happens. And we see the flood of WhatsApp and issues on other platforms. So, you know, I think that's something that we at Finance are really fighting hard at, and alongside yourselves and many other industry players, is like, how do we change that narrative, and how do we ensure that we stay laser focused. Like that's the biggest exercise in resilience to your opening point, Tommy.
Yeah.
How you stay laser focused on what we know is going to be an industry that's going to be mainstream and is here to stay. But how we do that despite the challenges, and the headwinds that we encounter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a point around conviction, right? We're all here and we've been around for 10 plus years, some of us in the industry, and it's not been easy. What do you think, Tim? What do you think has been the biggest test so far?
Yeah, look, I'll throw a couple of examples out there. I think the obvious challenges that we had in 2022 is a big one, but I think we were really surprised at, and I think the industry as well, is I suppose the resilience of the community and how the speed and rapidity at which customers came back and showed their loyalty to the businesses that they did really trust in the space. I think that's just a testament to, I suppose, the level of motivation and knowledge within industry investors and consumers alike. But to talk about I suppose, a more positive one, and maybe from a technological standpoint, if you look at something like the Ethereum merge that happened recently, overcoming that as a hurdle and the amount of, I suppose, capital that was at stake in trying to achieve such a complex transition to have such, I suppose, significant impacts to the result of how that network now operates and the efficiencies that it gained. I think that's just an incredible feat that shows, the tenacity and willpower of a really dedicated community and what they can achieve when, I suppose, putting their minds together and from all around the world at the same time.
Yeah, fantastic. It was they talked about the whole analogy of building the plane while it's flying, and it sounds like they tried to do 2 engine changes, while they're also doing that, the analogy around Ethereum. Dave, do you have any thoughts there on that one?
I think that one of the biggest things is a lot of perception. So, as an industry, we're trying to shape that perception in a positive way. The biggest test of resilience for me is that we keep overcoming the challenges of what national media or government or any other transforming industry throws at us as a community, as an industry. So, that perception is something that's really important. Even now, on our own social media content, things like that, we always say, people understand, and I keep trying to just reinforce that message that all of the days where you can really say with equal uncertainty that Bitcoin is a scheme, because we're talking about a regulated asset class now. So that testing that public perception is something we continue to do, and I think the whole point of talking about resilience is to say, I think we're almost at a point where we don't have to do that anymore.
I've started using the line, it doesn't land well all the time when I say it, but sometimes I say, have you done your 1,000 hours that Sailor talks about? Michael Saylor says, before you call Bitcoin a scam or whatever the instrument is you're talking about, do your 1,000 hours of education on it or whatever that looks like. And it's amazing how much you can uncover when you actually go and dig in deep and go into the trenches on anything, really. Most people stay at the surface level of absolutely everything and then form their opinions based on, once at the highest level. But it's always interesting when I see these things, and that kind of rolls into my next question, which I'm going to ask you first, Rachel, is around brand. What's how do you, with all of the challenges that we've had, every company has had and the industry's had, how do you think about building brands and protecting brands and, to Tim's point, like bring people on the journey, getting people to come back and continue to grow and trust your user base and the industry?
And I just want to feel a lot with David said, like we were blown away. We had a lot of headwinds over the last 24 months, and we were blown away, me in particular, just by the strength and the support from our community that allowed us, use what was this last bear cycle and some of the headwinds we had to innovate, to constantly optimize, our product and services. I think, going back to a point you've already made, like the 1,000 hours, like at finance, education is at the core of everything we do. And I think it's critical as we try and debunk the many myths and exist, the low trust quotients that unfortunately has defined crypto. But I think we're at that moment where it's a pivotal juncture for us because the ETF protocol, the surge of institutional interest it's really opened up a lot of the naysayers' eyes to the fact that this industry is here to stay and that we are going to become hopefully part of everyone still getting a reality. So, for me, from a brand perspective, we just keep double downing on education, keep double downing on using the power of our community and the amazing kind of audiences and conduits and platforms they have to tell the story in a way that meets people where they are. Because not everyone is at the same pace. Not everyone is sophisticated technologists who were the early adopters that started or worked on the 14 years ago. Some are coming in and don't understand the vernacular in the term. So it's, how do we kind of bring people on that journey and meet them where they are and ensure that we're holding their hands through it? So, that's something that we try and do through everything we're doing, whether big brand partnerships with Ronaldo or local content campaigns. We're doing, I was in New Delhi last weekend and it was all about fundamentals and education at the event that we're doing. So I think it's really about meeting people where they are.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I know Tim CoinSpot's approach and SwiftX's approach, we've taken a pretty similar strategy when it comes to meeting the people where they are. Using sports in Australia, outside activities is so important. The whole culture is built on that, and that's something that we've, obviously linked into. You guys are with Western Bulldogs in the AFL.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
That's
I've been with them for around 3 years now.
Yeah, so it's just another strategy, more of an isolated, homegrown type of strategy, but it's something that, I think the market, at least in Australia, really, really reacts well to. So, Serge, 1 inch is a massive brand. I've known about you guys. I've been watching you guys and have heard about 1 inch for years, probably even before I knew how to use it, if I'm honest. So I guess throw the same question about brand. How do you think about brand and the evolution of bringing the brand through the tough times?
So if you look on our product, we don't have actually to do a lot of marketing in terms of our product. Users have demand to exchange assets, and they want to do it in the most efficient, most easy user experience way, and they just come and do it. And we see on all the dumps, spams, or flat situation on the market, people coming and swapping because they have the need. If you are speaking about community, of course we take care a lot about community because we came from a community. So I think not everyone know that we were funded by the community through Gitcoin grants. It was a really funny story. There was this quadratic funding from Gitcoin, and I guess Vitalik put some money into it, Ethereum Foundation as well, and some other projects. And we were just two simple guys who built on interesting idea, and the community started to donate to our project. Every dollar would mean for us back to these days maybe $10, maybe 20, sometimes 100, depends how many people participate. So, and one guy sent us $50,000 and we were like, wow, it's a lot of money. And we asked them if it's maybe a mistake. And this guy said, yes, it was a mistake. I had fat fingers, but guys, you deserve it. Take this money and do something out of this. And we used this money. We had more contributors. They started to contribute. So we didn't use the money, I and Anton. And so we really take care about the community and try new things out. So I give you this coin, this physical airdrop. You can get it on our booth as well. So it's a physical airdrop. We invented this technology also in a hackathon in Paris, I think. So we try to work with different methods. Recently, we announced the Bruce Lee campaign. We are collaborating with the Bruce Lee family, with Shannon Lee and Bruce Lee Foundation. It was also great to come to the roots and also kind of get the verification and also to show the community where we are coming from. I don't know if you know Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee did everything highly efficient. He was doing everything like a pro, and he was a pro. That's also us. We do everything we to 100% and more, and we follow the same philosophy in terms of adapting. Yeah, what I said at the beginning. You need to adapt in our industry. 1 year, 10 years in traditional world and traditional finances. So we have to adapt. We need to be like water. Yeah, you know this famous for us from Bruce Lee. Be like water. If you put water in a cap, the water became a cap. So you need to adapt always. This is us.
That was very Bruce Lee of you.
My first day at Binance, I remain nameless, excited to me. When they took me aside, they're like, the one piece of advice we're going to give you is be like water. And it's literally what I say to everyone joining Binance now. It's so true. It's like you have to go with the flow and be as agile.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Dave, what about the brand of the conference? Three years, you guys are 3 years in market now, and the brand is obviously thriving. Australian Crypto Convention as a brand, new conference came to Australia, and probably the toughest time to start the conference. I guess this any points on, I guess how hard it's been for you guys, or not how hard it's been, but I guess the things that you've done to really drive it and I guess build it to the brand that we have today for this amazing event.
It has been hard. First of all, let's get that settled. Look, I think my message always comes back, it's been the same for years, is having conviction, not just in the market, but in what you're doing and what you're building. And I think one of the biggest things is being prepared for market cycles. So we're very fortunate, we get to work with hundreds of businesses over the years, and the ongoing theme and the businesses that survive are the businesses that plan the best. So we have to understand that the market operates in cycles, and it's very, very easy to be bullish and be excited and spend lots of money and do huge marketing campaigns and things like that when the market's up. But we have to prepare that when the market's down, you're squirreling some money away, you're doing smart marketing, you're not spending silly. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things we see in a lot of the brands that we work with, that those that survive and those that have the resilience to get through those bearish markets are the ones that plan ahead with that forethought in mind and just be strategic about what they're doing.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think that's definitely true. I think when we look at our journey over the years and what those tests of resilience have looked like, I think it most often comes back to, I suppose, what are the basics of being a really good business, and it's not most often not really fancy marketing campaigns or a list of product innovations. It really often comes down to being at events like this, speaking to our customers, doing surveys to find out what it is that they want to see from the product, what concerns they have, what's their thoughts about the economic landscape at the moment, are they worried about risk, interest rates, being able to buy a home, what is the role of I suppose, an exchange and a service to be able to try and meet those needs. I think it's an important point to make that, I'm sure I speak for the panel here as well, that we're really not naive to the fact of the really fortunate position we find ourselves in as a business and as an industry, that our customers come to us, that they trust us with their investments, and to provide them with a gateway, I suppose, to access cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And I think that's no small thing. And for us, that really often comes back to trying to provide the best level of customer service that we can, whether that's keeping up with response times in times like that we have now when it's getting quite busy on the platform, whether it's maintaining that really safe and secure space for people to learn more about the technology. It's quite often these things that may seem a little bit boring, but I think the customers certainly show their appreciation for this focus.
I think that relentless focus on users though is really what sets apart, and I'm sure seen that over the last few years with the evolution of brands you've worked with. At Binance we take it so seriously that everyone on our management committee, we have to do 1 day a month of CS response. Yep. So and I think it's something that people talk about that in other businesses. But
I was going to say, a lot of people say they do it, but who actually does it? Who actually has an executive one sitting down with the CS team and speaking to customers on the phone? We actually do it at SwiftX as well, where we do a day.
We do 14 hours from basic. It's a 14-hour day, which is aggressive. So I feel for our CS teams, they're amazing. But it's incredible because you learn so much through those interactions, from the basics to the more sophisticated issues that our users are facing, and that helps you start being able to really drive those improvements and optimizations.
Absolutely. Yep.
I think, Dave, just on your point, it wasn't necessarily a crypto-specific problem. It was just people a lot of new businesses, a lot of young founders, a lot of really naive people going into business, into this machine that just absolutely took off. Like, you know, FTX obviously a bad example, but the premise of how that happened was just due to exponential growth and then not having processes, not having experience. That's not a crypto problem, that's just a business that's bloody taken off.
Definitely, that's happened to us as well. The event grew so fast, we didn't have the internal systems to grow as fast enough with it. So we had to run very, very quickly to catch up. So you're dead right.
It's just a maturity thing, and it's again, it's nothing specific to crypto or blockchain. It's really just, these are new businesses and they just haven't got the experience. There's a lot of work that needs to go under the hood to run businesses long term, especially when you're dealing with something as complex as digital assets, blockchain, and finance in general. I think it's really important.
You know Murphy's law, if something can go wrong, it will go wrong.
Right.
It's actually what happened with FTX. If people are the middlemen, the intermediates, and people can steal money or gamble with the money, they will do it. Yeah? But if you use technology, and I think also every one of you is moving into the Web3 world, Binance started the Web3 wallet, right? So you're really investing a lot of money and time into it. As soon we use proper technology and what actually use the non-custodial approach, where no one can actually get access to the funds, then we will have less problems. So I think the technology could help here, yeah, to avoid the situation.
Just going back to that point that you made, though, we need to remember what crypto was born out of. It was born out of, 2008, and a time where no one trusted the traditional finance industry. I moved to New York that year, and I remember, like, you saw banks cutting their staff by 50%, and what's been extraordinary is, majority of them have rebuilt back their trust. But in the small period we've been growing and thriving, we've managed to drive incredible people like to focus on the negative because it's more interesting and it's clickbait, but the positive, the innovations, the transparency and security proliferation innovations that have happened, like, it's extraordinary.
Sorry, I was gonna. Sorry, do you want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, I would like to add to this. I agree, we are still early here. So we have also discussions with regulators, also governments. Last time we met someone in Hong Kong, and I recognized we need to do a lot of education in terms of regulators and also governments. They are still in we call it in Germany digitalization process. Same as banks, most banks, except maybe some Swiss banks, some Singapore banks, who already offer Bitcoin and swapping inside of the bank account. So we are still early. If you look on the user adoption numbers, and compare it with internet adoption, you remember early days of internet. Who needs internet? What is internet? Why we should have internet? Yeah, it's a scam. No one needs it or something. I have heard on the TV. If you look at the numbers, we are right now in the year 2000, yeah, compared to internet adoption. So very early, and there's a lot of things to do. And we improved all together, I think. I fully agree, it's really like that. They don't really understand how the technology works, and after they understand as well, they don't know how to deal with this in terms of like P2P swaps. It's P2P swap. There are no intermediates in the between, and it's just a program what works, and they have actually no use cases before. And I think what we have also done that the technology on what we are building right now is the technology what will be used by the whole financial industry, because it's the most efficient technology, and I see it as a evolution step for the whole world in financial industry, and not just only financial as well. Before we dealt with phone calls, yeah, to buy stocks, yeah, and on paper and everything, and they started to adopt internet and clouds and offer login into the bank before you had to go to your bank manager, right, and to manage it somehow. And crypto is just just the next evolution step from my point of view, and we will see also kind of like trading 24/7, stock, tokenized real world assets and everything. So I'm very happy to see this in the next years.
Permeable right there. I was wondering how we were going to turn this into a super bullish ending to the session as well today. So thanks for putting us down that avenue first. Okay. What would you consider ultimate success for our industry? If you could make one wish for the next 10 years, what would it be? Where would it land? Sergej, we'll start you off.
So I wish that everyone own non-custody wallets and have the ownership about all the assets that they own. Don't trust anyone, but verify and use our Web3 DeFi decentralized finance technology.
So near term, I'm going to do, if you give me the luxury of 2 responses.
Absolutely.
Near term, I think hitting that 1 billion user mark is critical for our industry to really go from what is still nascent and early adoption to mainstream adoption. So that would be my utopia. The next 18 months, we hit that mark, because I think that will really prove that this is, it truly legitimizes.
What are we at now, if you were to put a number on it?
So the latest research is that we're at 650,000 globally.
Million.
650 million globally, sorry.
Yeah.
650 million globally.
Huge.
So it's huge, but still early stage. So you're all early adopters in this room. I think in the longer term, Binance's hope is that we work in a well-regulated, collaborative ecosystem, which allows us to continue to innovate on the technology, which is the reason we're all in this, so.
I think it's a win not if conversation now, surely. Like, obviously businesses are incentivized for that to be the case, let's call it out, but for me it's a no-brainer now. It's a win not if conversation. I think we've passed, I wouldn't say all of the barriers, we've passed a lot of the barriers we need to pass and overcome for that next level. So for me, I guess, what are the next barriers that are coming? Because we know there's barriers coming all the time. We know we still have that regulatory hurdle to get over, and we're all working diligently to get there. I might throw anyway, Tim, that one to you as well, Tim.
Yeah, sure.
What's the wish?
I think, the ultimate view of success is really going to be when we stop sort of trying to convince everyone to own crypto, and then more that people start using it without knowing that they actually be using it. I think there's a good analogy to be drawn to, maps and GPS technology. We always used to drive around, have our parents drive us around when we were kids, and Melways in the backseat of the ship, or the Segway in Sydney. Feels a bit unnatural down there, but that was the technology that was the key that unlocked access to the city and community that all of our lives depended on. And that evolved to typing in an address into Google Maps, and then from there it evolved into cars that are charged by the sun that generally know where you're going, and they'll do half of the driving for you to get you to your destination. So I think we're coming out of the stage of maps and moving into typing in addresses, but I think there's still a long way to go to that endpoint. I think that's really ultimately going to be the sign that we've succeeded. And I should say as well, I think that's going to come from a harmonisation of banking services, DeFi services, centralised services, and I don't think users will necessarily need to know which one of those they're using. If they've got connected wallets that are offline, that process should be seamless for them to be able to leverage those assets and move them in a way that makes sense to them. I think it's all part of the same, plays in the same onion in that sense.
The beauty is in simplicity and how we hide. Hide not as a negative word, hide as in people don't know they're actually interacting with it ever.
What no one knows the technology, like none of us asked how Visa and MasterCard.
Exactly right.
So it's
Yet we seem to be held at a standard that everyone needs to understand how it works in the back end, under the hood. Why have we tried to hold ourselves to a higher standard when the average person genuinely does not really care? They just want to press the button and it does the thing that they want to do. Dave, you can't say $1 million Bitcoin, because I know you're gearing up for that. I see by the way you're looking at me. What's that wish for you from your perspective?
I knew it was going to take one or two angles there, and that was the other one that I was trying to. I said I wouldn't cover that one off, but there you go.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like the Melways or the Refudex into a GPS. I think that paper to tech transition was a really good analogy. But in terms of success, I echo Tim's thoughts really. I think people just need to start using it without knowing that they're using it. And for me, in the short term, personally, I'd love to have 10 consecutive conversations with a stranger where not one of them says, but isn't Bitcoin a scam? Because to me, that would tell me that we're getting to a point of adoption and acceptance that people are realizing that it is the future of financial technology. It's all of our future, and we're all going to be using it at some point. So I think for me in the short term, that if I could have 10 conversations where no one mentioned the scheme, I'd be very happy. Long term, yeah, $1 million Bitcoin, why not?
Lovely. That's about it for the questions. I was just going to go and do a little bit of around the grounds, and I guess where can people, if they want to find out more about what you guys are doing or follow you guys, or where would they do that if anyone here in the audience is interested in following? Dave?
Where are you most active? I'm all over social media.
Everywhere is the answer, is it?
Yeah, I'm all over LinkedIn and Twitter or X. I'm usually at pretty much every crypto event in Australia, so and abroad in some cases, but yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere, so it's hard to miss me.
Likewise, from a CoinSpot perspective, any of our socials will certainly respond to any request that comes through. If we're here today, go and visit the team over at the booth, come and have a chat. I'll be around for a short time after here, and if you're interested in talking about linking up with CoinSpot in terms of partnerships or anything like that, feel free to shoot an email through to partnerships@coinspot.com.au. That'll come through to myself directly, and yeah, we can have a chat from there.
What happened if I sent you an email?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, really, alright, sweet.
I'll respond to your emails.
Response time. Binance Australia and Binance Global socials and community channels. We're across everything. You can imagine we're at 23 million social following now. And then obviously our booth here today, you know, we'd love to invite anyone who hasn't been over, ready to meet the team, play the games, get some free swag.
If you want to meet me in person, I'm here on our nice booth with nice videos with Bruce Lee. And if you want to learn more about how to swap without trusting anyone, you're welcome also to visit our booth to take our merch. We have nice airdrops, or what I already mentioned before. So you're welcome. And I'm on x.com, previously Twitter. I like Twitter more. DACIX, my handle, so you're welcome to follow me. Thank you.
I should also mention as well, sorry, because if I don't, Matt will be upset. If you do have a business or a startup that would like to participate in ACC next year, our booth is out in the middle of the floor. We're sharing a wall with SwiftX as well, so come and have a chat with us, and we can sort you out for next year.
Awesome, thanks guys. Yeah, for myself, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, probably oversharing these days, all very exciting with the markets happening, but yeah, anything to do with SwiftX, we have our own Facebook, LinkedIn pages, Twitter as well, and we have a podcast called Tapping Into Crypto. If you want to hear a little bit more of my voice and vibe with come to the guys that participate in the podcast as well. But these guys give a huge round of applause for the panel. They've been fantastic, and yeah, thanks very much for anything.